So, who of you has ever had a basketball in his hands? Please raise your hand. Come on, let's play some ball here. Wow, many players here today. Anyone want to take a shot? Want to take a shot? He was first. So, please be very careful. The organizers are going to kill me. I didn't tell them that I was going to play ball on their stage. They wouldn't allow me. That's why I didn't. So, wow, very good. Congratulations. So, have you ever tried to score a basket from the middle of a court? From there. Do you know how difficult it is? Easy? Extremely difficult? Little bit difficult? What do you say? Hard. I heard hard. Wrong. Totally easy. Very easy. You're going to say, how can this be easy? Well, there's a trick. Just throw the ball often enough in the correct direction, and you will eventually score a basket. Sure, on the one hand, it might be hard to hit it at the first time, but I didn't tell you how many shots I give you. So maybe you will take one shot, maybe 10, maybe 100 shots, maybe you will need 1,000 shots. But eventually, if you shoot in the direction of the basket, often enough, at one point, you will hit the basket. You will get your points. Now, in basketball, admittedly, scoring once out of 1,000 times is not really good. It will probably not land you on the NBA dream team. However, thank God, in business, it's different. So I have read now many stories about successful businessmen and women, and I believe that common to their success recipes are two elements which resemble shooting often enough in the correct direction to have success. Element number one is hard work. Shooting again and again and again. Element number two would be to shoot in the correct direction. If the basket is there and I am pointing to the sidelines, I can try 1,000,000 times, I will not hit one basket. However, I will if I shoot in the correct direction. For me, while shooting often in business means working hard, shooting in the correct direction means to direct one's work towards things that are relevant to the customer. To do things that the customer recognizes, that he yearns for, and that he or she is eventually willing to pay for. Now, regarding myself, I did found a small startup, a mobile app. It's called Quizdom, and if you haven't downloaded it yet, please do it after the talk. This is the logo of the app, and currently it has hundreds of thousands of active users who play this game regularly, so it went quite well. Now, in the next minutes, I would like to point out to you how the thought that I talked about, shooting often enough in the correct direction, was something that was also key to making this app as successful as it is, probably. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my story, how this all began. First of all, I had a job as a management consultant, but I quit my job because I wanted to do an IT startup. So I had lots of ideas, many of which I was passionate for, and I wanted to go out and try my own IT startup. Now, the easy path would have been to choose an idea that I love very much and which is also easy to implement and just go for it. I did choose a slightly more difficult path. I took the ideas, I brainstormed also many others, and I analyzed them. It took me maybe a couple of months, including testing the most promising ideas in a real-world environment. So I would create mock-ups of those products, or I would create limited versions of those ideas, and I would try to test it with real consumers and see what is going to be their reaction. I believe that this helped me to put aside certain ideas which sounded very good in my mind, but which turned out to be nothing that finally is interesting for people or for customers. One idea even, I remember that when I would interview people objectively, they would all say it's a great idea, great product. I would immediately sign up for it. And when I put in front of them a limited product version of it, all of a sudden no one wanted to buy it or no one wanted to sign up for it. So this is also a good test to put some versions of the product in front of people and see how they react. Because typically, as human beings, we are not so good in forecasting how we're going to behave. We don't know actually. But the best thing is just to put it in front of them and then see how did they behave in reality. And this is a good indicator then whether an idea is good or not, at least in my opinion. So, what I did was I tested several ideas and I carefully measured the reaction to those, and this made me get rid of certain ideas and eventually do this app, which I believe was a good concept. In other words, I took many shots and directed my angle towards the basket by carefully measuring those shots, those business ideas. Now, having decided for Wisdom, I had to build the product. I worked hard to build it quickly, and I was about to launch it. Now, the easy path would have been to just produce the product, be totally enthusiastic about it, and expect the other people, the customers, to find it by themselves. This would be easy. I put it on the shelves, now the customer is in charge, he should choose it. And he should decide and convince himself that he has to try it out. This would be the easy path. I took a bit more difficult approach. Months before the launch, I had started to test and fine-tune my sales pitch to see to which phrases would people react positively or to what kind of story and to what kind of story not. I also started to create some buzz around the product. We tried many things. We did many shots. For instance, we went to taxi drivers and gave them flyers because taxi drivers would apparently be one possible customer or target group of us. Eventually, I believe that all those efforts did serve us well because on the 4th day of its launch, the app skyrocketed to number 2 of all apps by downloads at the Apple App Store, surpassing Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Now, we had a good start. It was August 2014, and some friends of mine told me, congratulations, great start, now go out on vacation. Remember, August 2014, and you know how it's in August in Greece. Well, the easy path would be to agree to say, okay, now let it run by itself. I take my vacation, return back, and see what I will do. I took a slightly more different or more difficult path. I stayed where I was, and I worked hard, and prepared technically the app for the growth with which was to come. And this turned out to be very important later on, and helped us to prohibit certain problems which would have occurred had I not worked in that time. Again, I continued to take my shots even when the times were good. Now, so it went well, good launch. After a couple of months, October 2014, the app would start to slow down a little bit, growth would go a little bit down, to the point where some people will tell me, okay, it was a nice app that you did, now try to focus somewhere else, because the time that you spend for the app, you can spend it somewhere else. The easy thing that I could do was to reduce my sense of urgency and the rate of the improvements that we did. We chose a different path. In November and December 2014, we would prepare a big marketing outreach, which actually was successful in turning the downtrend around to increase growth again, to the point where in March 2015, the app would be widely known in many parts of the nation. Then came a hype, fueled by multiple TV media reports and other mentions from celebrities, etc. At which point, some people again told me, okay, congratulations, man, it's great. Now you can sit back and watch the app grow. Again, I took a slightly different approach. I believed that now that it went well, was the time, more than ever, to double down on our efforts, on improvements, and on seeking beneficial partnerships for this app. Ultimately, I believe that my continuous push for this app, shooting and shooting again through every point in the life cycle of this app, that this was a key factor in the success of the app. I always would work hard, take my shots, and I always would make sure that I was throwing the ball in the correct direction. I did this by keeping an open mind, which I would supplement with lots and lots and lots of feedback, and with objective market tests and consumer behavior. So to summarize my own experience, I believe I can transfer the thought that I mentioned at the beginning to business. So here we see the app, how it was on first place in both app stores in March, April, May 2015. And what I believe is ultimately correct for business is that if you just work hard on the correct issues, you will eventually have success. But you may ask now, okay, how can I be so sure? Can anyone predict success? No. No one can predict the future very well. And without a doubt, luck is often a deciding factor for the success of a particular business approach or idea. Also, this is the case for the app that I did. But this luck, it is similar to shooting the ball from the middle of the court. The one shot that will eventually go in, this one lucky shot, this shot was a lucky one, sure. But the fact that 1 out of 1,000 shots that you tried would go in, this was no luck. This is pure, focused, hard work on the correct issues. In that sense, hard work on the correct issues will invite luck into your home and can turn you into a Michael Jordan of business.